Good morning, everyone. Are we having a good morning? All right. This is amazing. Thank you all so much for being here. I am not a professional keynote speaker, but I have a tremendous We'll figure out where to stand and where not to stand. So I'm not a professional keynote speaker, but I do have a great passion for children. I know what I'm going to have to answer for at the pearly gates. I'm very clear about that, and so every day I work on behalf of the 1.1 million school children in Arizona. I bring you greetings from the State Superintendent of Public Instruction, John Huppenthal, who is equally committed to the success of all children in Arizona. I just wanted to share a few thoughts with you this morning about what it is that you can do to help your students maximize their success, to help you, help us, help you have your students realize their dreams. First, I want to tell you a story about Amelia. Amelia is my favorite 2-year-old in the entire universe, okay? And I'm going to guess that you have an Amelia in your life. Now, your Amelia might not be 2, your Amelia might be 7 or 11 or 18. But I know that you have children in your life that you would do anything for, that inspire you every day and challenge you every day. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about my Amelia. She is beautiful, she's intelligent, she's curious, and she's a handful. But before I tell you more about Amelia, I'd like to tell you about Amelia's mother. Amelia came from a family where no one, and I do mean no one, in her entire extended family had ever graduated from high school. But her mother went to school just down the street, and she graduated from high school. And she graduated from high school because she had teachers who never gave up on her. They inspired her, they pushed her, and they worked with her mother to make sure that the potential that everyone saw in Amelia's mother was actually realized. And so part of the story is about the dedication and persistence and love that teachers bring to the work that they do every single day. And they made a huge difference in Lisette's life. They were able to help her continue and make history in her family. She graduated from high school. But graduating from high school wasn't the end of the story. Lisette went on to college. No one in her family had ever even seen a college. They had never graduated from high school. They had never been on a college campus. They had never even seen a college campus. So to talk with Lisette about going to college was a little like talking about taking a road trip to Mars. But Lisette went to college and she graduated. And today she works for the Drug Enforcement Agency as a real-time language translator. She supervises a group of people who listen in on wiretaps. It's a pretty cool job. Okay? But it was made possible because her mother wanted her to do great things, had brought her to this country to give her that opportunity to do great things. And because Lisette was surrounded by people who never let her give up, who helped her realize the gifts that she had been given and the talents that she could develop, and they inspired her and supported her. And I tell you the story about Lisette because she is Amelia's mother. And because of her experience, Amelia will have a wonderful life. Amelia will be surrounded by parents and teachers and family members and a community who cares as much about Amelia as we cared about Lisette. And Amelia, as I said, is brilliant. She's beautiful. She's curious. She's got a lot of energy. She has a new baby brother that she will take care of and help to nurture. And because her mom had people in her life who did wonderful things for her, Amelia's life will be forever better. And so part of what we do is build a legacy for our children, that because of what we do for our children, they then will be able to pass that on to their children. And that's really, really important, I think. So I hope that Amelia's beautiful little face inspires you today as much as she inspires me. But I thought about, what kind of comments to share with you this morning. And first, I want to make sure that you understand how much we appreciate the fact that you are your child's first teacher, and in many ways, their very best teacher. The things that you help your children to learn, and the skills you help them to develop, and the attitudes and values that they incorporate into their life come from you. And so you're able to help them to learn to love learning for their whole life. They'll be able to learn new things, new ideas, new concepts, new skills, to engage in new activities, and to be excited about learning. Think about Amelia. She's 2. The world is open to her, and every day she gets excited about learning something new. And I just want to bottle that enthusiasm, that curiosity, and you can do the same thing for your children. Help them learn how to love to learn. Next, to communicate. Your ability to wrap a language-rich environment around your children is very, very important. You help them to learn to communicate their feelings, their needs, their wants. We often hear people say to little kids, use your words, instead of, pushing or shoving or kicking or biting or screaming. Use your words. That's really important. So if you can have a language-rich environment with your children, have lots of reading material, have lots of conversation, that will really, really help your children be successful. To work well with others. It will be perhaps the most important skill your children will develop as they enter the workforce. Employers tell us over and over and over again that they're looking for employees who can work well with others, who can collaborate, who can share, who can brainstorm, who can solve conflicts with one another, the ability to get along with people, because as we move forward, not many of us are ever going to work all by ourselves. We're not going to work all by ourselves all day at school, and certainly in the workplace, we are not going to work all by ourselves for the most part. So we have to help our kids learn the skills of sharing and collaborating and resolving conflicts. And most importantly, you are your child's first teacher and best teacher in terms of helping them learn to dream. Kids who have dreams, kids who have aspirations, kids who have a vision for their future will be successful in the 21st century. Kids who struggle in school, kids who struggle in life are often children for whom dreams have escaped them. No one has inspired them. No one has given them permission or encouraged them to have dreams, and we need to do that. So there are 2 things that I want to ask you to do. One is to connect to your school, wherever that is, whatever grade level your children are at. Please connect to your school, and then we're going to talk in a few minutes about how you can actually support your children at home in terms of being successful for school. So the first thing I would ask you to do is to make sure that if you haven't already done this, introduce yourself to your child's teacher and to someone in the office. That person in the office may turn out to be your very best friend at school. It's pretty obvious why I think you should introduce yourself to the teacher, because you want to partner with that teacher to help support your child, and you all have to work together. We're all on the same team. We need to get to know each other. But sometimes school can be sort of a scary place, maybe sometimes kind of an intimidating place. And the people who work in the office are there to support teachers and to support you and to support your children, and they really want to be able to help you. So when you're in the office, or if you have an extra minute, stop by and introduce yourself and make that connection, because they often know kind of the inside scoop about how things work, and sometimes you can ask them questions that you might not feel comfortable asking someone else. So we should never forget about the support personnel that work in schools for us. I would encourage you to attend parent-teacher conferences and school events. Get to know the school culture. I always said that the best part of my job as a teacher or an administrator in a building was actually what happened outside of school hours. You know, those events that you really get to know kids in a different sort of way. You get to know the school staff in a different sort of way, and it's also, quite frankly, a lot of fun. So I would encourage you to take part in those kinds of activities. If you're worried or curious about something that's happening at school, please talk to the school about it. Please talk to the teacher. Please talk to the principal. Please talk to somebody in the office. We don't want you to be worried. We don't want you to be concerned. We want you to be safe and secure and happy with what's happening at school. So if you do start to worry about anything, or if you're just curious, you know, your kids are talking about something, you don't really understand what they're talking about, or you don't know that it just sounds quite right, please ask. Please talk to us so that we can share information and help you feel good about the experiences that your children are having. We want you to share good news outside in your community, with your neighbors, with your friends, with your relatives. We all know that sometimes the media likes to capture all the juicy, weird, gory, bad news, but we also know that every single day, the 1.1 million school children sitting in class are exposed to wonderful things. They get great opportunities from very dedicated and talented teachers, but we need a little advertising. So we need a little public relations, and we're going to ask you for some help. So if good things happen, when good things happen to your children in school, please tell someone for us. Okay? You should expect frequent communication from the school. As a parent, I might actually say you should demand frequent communication from the school. Not just when something doesn't go right, not just when there's a problem in class, but you should be hearing frequently about the curriculum, about how the school is assessing what your students are learning, how are grades calculated, what are events coming up, how can I get involved, what should I be doing at home to support my children. Frequent communication from the teacher and from the school. Because again, we're trying to build this strong partnership. We're all on the same team. There's not a coach alive. There's no football coach or baseball coach that would send their team out on the field to play and not have shared communication with what's happening. Okay? If you think about professional sports, they're even communicating with their fans, right? They're all on Twitter and Facebook and, you know, whatever, communicating with their fans because they realize that the power of a great fan base actually supports the team and the work that they do. I mean, I love the Cardinals, but I'm not going to put on a helmet and join them down on the field. But maybe there are some things that I can do as a fan that would help encourage them to do their very best. You should make sure that the school knows how to reach you. Please make sure that the school has a working phone number, your current address, so that when they reach out to you, as we have asked them to do, as you have asked them to do as parents, they have to know how to get a hold of you. You should ask about your child's progress regularly. Report cards should never be a surprise. In fact, I would tell you to tell your children that they should always know what kind of grades they're getting. Their report card shouldn't be a surprise to them, and it certainly shouldn't be a surprise to you. And you should know that the school is measuring their growth and their progress on a frequent basis, in part because we want to celebrate that progress. We want to celebrate that growth. You should look at the work that your student brings home on a frequent basis. Okay, I'd try not to be a helicopter mom and hover too much over my kids, but I would like to see their work, if not every day, at least maybe every other day. have them show it to you so that you get a feel for what they're being asked to do and how well they're able to do that. So I think it helps you learn about what they're learning about, and that would be really important. In the event that you have concerns or questions, again, please talk to the teacher, please ask questions. They're open to that. They want you to ask them questions. They want you to talk with them. So please do that. And ask for help. If your child is struggling or confused or worried about something, let somebody know. Because this school and every other school in the Washington Elementary School District is filled with people who want your children to be successful. They want to help. They carry a deep passion and strong skills with them to work every day, and they want you to tap into that wisdom and that energy and that passion about kids so that we can all celebrate the success of every child in our schools. So there are some specific kinds of things that I think you can do with your children, okay? One, ask your student what they learned at school, okay? I don't know. My grandmother asked my mother asked me, and I asked our children like every single day, so how was school? Fine. No, really, no, like, so how was school? Fine. Okay, so you might have to ask some other question besides how was school, because I think it must be in their DNA. That's the only answer to that particular question that they have. But ask them every day, how was school? What did you like? What was your favorite part? Was there any frustrating parts? Was there any hard parts? You know, what did you like about school? And ask them to talk about it. That serves two purposes. One, you get to learn more about the experiences that they're having. And two, you get to learn more about the curriculum and the actual knowledge and skills that they're learning about in school. And that's very important for you to know the what they're learning. And the more you can get them to talk, you get to understand the how they are learning it. But remember a few minutes ago when I said that children need to grow up in a language-rich environment? They need lots of conversation. They need exposure to printed material. They need to develop their literacy skills. And part of being literate is the ability to carry on a conversation and to describe your thoughts and to be able to describe what's happening in your life. So the more practice you give your children in talking about something specific, the better that they will become as students. Ask your student to teach you something that they have learned. I don't know about you, but school looks different now than it did when I was in school about 100 years ago. Okay? I mean, like kindergarten was like third grade for me. I mean, I'm amazed at what they are doing. So I think that there are a lot of things, a lot of new ideas, a lot of new skills, a lot of new concepts that students are learning about now that quite frankly, I don't know that I have like mastered. So they might be doing some really interesting topics. I didn't get to study dinosaurs. Do you know what I mean? I didn't get to study foreign countries the way they do now. So ask your kids to teach you something. We know that if a student can explain a concept or perform a skill in front of someone else, that they really know it. So when you ask them to teach you something or to describe what they're learning in school, it helps reinforce what the teacher is trying to teach them, and it helps you understand their experience. Okay? You should know and support the homework expectations for your students' class, whether they have, 10 minutes or an hour, what is it they should be practicing? Please don't ever let your child say, I don't have any homework. Okay? Right next to how was your day? Fine. The other, big issue here is, do you have any homework? No. I mean, has a student ever in their whole life said, yeah, I have a ton of it? Some do probably, but most of them say, no, don't have any homework. Okay, even if they don't have any homework, they should have homework. They should find something to read. They should practice math. They should be curious about science. There's always something that they could practice at home to either reinforce something new that they're learning, if they're in early grades and learning to read, tons of practice. If they need practice in math, there's always something for them to do, okay? Please make sure that they attend school every day. I know that seems like, duh, like, of course, but that's really, really important, and we can't overemphasize that enough. The teachers at this school and every other school in this district work very hard to prepare interactive, meaningful, relevant lessons for your children. It would be a shame that those teachers have gone to all that work and not have kids be there. They also design lessons that can't simply be replicated by homework. So when a student's not there to experience the learning, they've missed out on something that I can't just give you a piece of paper and say, do this at home and have that be the full experience. They have to be there, you know? It's sort of like watching, I don't know, it's like watching a sporting event live versus on TV, you know? We want them to experience it live. There's a reason why we have classrooms and great teachers. Please make sure that your child knows that you expect them to do their very best every single day. The power of high expectations cannot be underestimated. When you send your child a message that says, I know sometimes it'll be hard, I know sometimes it'll be tricky, I know sometimes it'll be confusing, but guess what? Welcome to life, right? Isn't life tricky, tough, confusing, frustrating, all of those things? And so we teach them important life lessons by how to persist through those challenges, how to stick with it, how to keep working through it, how to ask for help, how to practice, do all the things that we know successful adults do. And so when they hear that from you and they hear it from their teachers and the people at school, then they're like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. Like, you know, wow. But it's very powerful. Because we kind of want to gang up on them to make sure that they're successful, okay? And ask your students what they like about school. And don't let them say nothing. What do you like about school? Is it the people? You know, maybe they have favorite teachers or favorite friends. Maybe it's certain kinds of activities. But you can learn a lot about your child and about what they're doing when you're not there by getting them to talk about what they like. Plus, it just sets a positive tone when you focus on the stuff that you like, the stuff that you enjoy, even if they tell you it's recess and lunch. At least it gets them to school, and then we sort of slide all the rest of the stuff in, okay? All right. Look for ways to have your students practice what they're learning with real-life experiences. And I like to use the grocery store as my favorite example. I don't know if y'all ever take your kids to the grocery store, but they can practice reading. They can read signs, they can read box top labels, they can read all kinds of things. They can do math, right? They can learn about quantities and fractions and weights and all kinds of formulas at the store. You know, we have this much money and we want to buy this much food. Is that possible? They can do all kinds of things. But the world is surrounding us with examples of places where kids can apply what they're learning in terms of reading, critical thinking, communication, all kinds of math, science. You know, when you're outside, you know, are they focused on nature? Just all kinds of things. Because quite frankly, the reason this is so important is sometimes kids think that the world inside school is totally different than the world outside of school. And we have to help them make connections, that what you're learning inside the classroom really does happen outside of school. People in their adult life actually use math. Yes, adults really do read. Now, maybe we don't do a lot of book reports in our adult life, but you know, we do read, and those skills are really important. So look for all kinds of opportunities to use what they're learning in school outside of school to help reinforce how important it really is and how useful it will be in their real life. Please let your students see you read. And I don't even care what you read. I don't care if it's, you know, newspapers or magazines or the comics or the closed caption on TV or the junk mail that comes in your mailbox. I don't really care what they see you read, but the fact that they understand that adults in their real life read and that isn't just something that happens at school and, you know, I just need to hang on, but, you know, once I graduate from high school, I am never gonna read again. They need to see you read. Sends a very, very powerful message. And research shows the aliens are coming. Research shows that students who grow up surrounded by language, surrounded by conversation, and surrounded by people that they have seen read do far better in school and in life than students who don't have those kinds of role models. And practice math and reading when shopping, as I suggested earlier. So here's the question I'm going to leave you with. Think about what you need from us. Think about what you need from the professionals who are talented and dedicated at your child's school. Think about what you need from the district administration, and think about what you need from the state of Arizona. Because our job is to support you. You were, in fact, your child's first and best and continuing lifelong teacher. You will teach your children thousands of lessons without even knowing it for their entire life. You will serve as their inspiration. Our job is to help you raise the kind of children that make you proud and that take good care of us in our old age. We have a vested interest in their success. But please help us help you do what we all want to do for the kids in Arizona. I want to just close with one last thing. I bring to you a proclamation from the State Department of Education and the State Superintendent of Public Instruction, and I'd like to read it to you, and then Dr. Cook, I'd like to hand to you this proclamation. Because the timing of this event could not be more perfect. I'm not sure that all of you know, but November is Family Engagement Month, and so I'd like to read to you the proclamation from the State Superintendent. Whereas the Department of Education's mission is to serve Arizona's education community, ensuring every student has access to an excellent education. Whereas our vision is that families, schools, and communities are engaged in every child's education to enhance student achievement. Whereas Arizona's 1.1 million students and their families dream of graduation and the opportunities that will follow. Whereas the Department of Education partners with families and schools to improve college and career readiness skills. Whereas Arizona's education leaders collaborate with families to form a strong educational framework for all children from preschool through high school. Whereas research indicates that families who are welcome in a safe and healthy learning environment that respects cultural, socioeconomic, and linguistic differences build positive relationships with school staff. Schools that establish and maintain effective two-way communication with families increase participation in the learning process. Families who engage their children in at-home learning activities and monitor homework help students achieve academic expectations. Schools that include families in the decision-making process develop shared goals and actions to improve schools and students' education. Families who understand developmental milestones and academic expectations are confident and guide their children towards scholastic and social success. And communities that collaborate to strengthen family engagement initiatives impact positive student outcomes. Now, therefore, I, John Huppenthal, State Superintendent of Public Instruction, do hereby proclaim November as Family Engagement Month. I commend you, families, school staff, and community members who encourage student achievement and form meaningful partnerships on behalf of our children's future. So on behalf of the Arizona Department of Education, and more importantly, on behalf of Amelia and her mother, I thank you for being here. I thank you for the love that you share with all of the children in your family and your community, and thank you for being here today.